Yow! What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another Yow vlog. I'm your host, eXtine, and we're going to be going over the Balance of Power update for Dota 2. This is the 6.86 patch, and lots of craziness. I'm also going to go over this a little bit from the perspective of Elder Titan, because that is my homeboy, and that's what I play. So some of these changes, I'll just be pointing out how that affects Elder Titan in particular. Arc Warden, new hero, yay, thanks for that, Valve, appreciate that. He's got a skill that slows people. He's got Magnetic Field, which is a little mini chronosphere that allied heroes within it get evasion and attack speed, and opposing heroes just miss, and yeah, no attack speed there. The Spark Wraith is kind of like a landmine that he can drop, but it, unlike techies, it doesn't explode. It just selects one person that it tracks down in that area. Can be used very well. Like there was a gif of Ember Spirit being destroyed by this set on a Fire Remnant. Then the main deal about Arc Warden is the Tempest Double, where he gets basically like a super illusion that can use items. And then it takes 150% damage and deals out 50% damage, but abilities and items on separate cooldowns. So craziness there. This hero laning with Elder Titan would be awesome because Magnetic Field, the evasion and attack speed while you're trying to punch people in the face would be super awesome, particularly if you were just going more of an off-lane carry Titan. The Flux as well would be an easy setup for Stomp at level 1 and 2. And then Spark Wraith also just kind of like a beneficial skill. If you did have an Arc Warden on your team as Elder Titan, you would probably get a little bit more support items built by the Arc Warden, which is very helpful because then that's less of an obligation on you to build those items. The Magnetic Field also has an important change for Elder Titan. If you're fighting up against an Arc Warden and you buy Rod of Atos, which is an item that I suggest on him. Zeus, Arcana, cool, new stuff, flashy, bright lights. New comic, good graphics in it, good drawing, plot, non-existent, but cool, good drawings. Desert Terrain, I've been rocking this the last few games, kind of trippy, but cool. Desert Music Pack, I think you have to buy that. Maybe I have it. Maybe you're supposed to earn it in the compendium. I don't know. I'm not playing with Ultra Shadow quality, but looks cool. New map for Coliseum. I don't play that, but sure. That's cool. New treasures, yeah. Hero stats, cool. I'm glad they added this. I can watch my stats for Elder Titan, which is awesome. And then just check out your stats overall. I haven't looked at all that stuff yet, but definitely some of that stuff pretty cool. Different stuff for Armory, cool. One-stop shopping, sure. Private chat channels, actually haven't messed with that yet, but that's very cool stuff. Need to set up I guess like an XTV fan group and a Portland Burnsider one for sure. Now, here's where we get into the meat of the update. Map changes, holy crap. I should have set up the JPEG, or sorry, the GIF that I found that shows the changes in the mini-map between the two. A lot to go over. Definitely most of it. So on Dire side, basically on the lanes, like by the secret or by the side shop, there's an extra juke route, kind of matching the Radiant side juke route. Well, also that one gets an extra juke route. And then the secret shop, there's an extra camp, and that's true on both sides of the river. The Radiant jungle, though, actually underwent the most changes in this patch. There's an extra little staircase that leads you down a rune. Camps were moved around. One of the camps shifted significantly closer to what is the Dire off lane. So, and then also kind of how in the mid lane for Radiant, how there's the large camp and then the medium camp. And right now, 685, there's a full line of trees in between that. Screwing the perspective, screwing with me. But now there's a gap. That's pretty much what's shown here. So that's the large camp, the medium cap's over here, and then there's a gap right through there. And those are huge changes, major changes for Elder Titan. I really had my Radiant jungle stack down. I could do all sorts of double stacks. And now my timing is all thrown off, and since they switched some of the camps around, I'm still really figuring that out. What's crazy is with the large camp that they move close to the off lane, like if I'm in lane playing as the Radiant in that safe lane, and I cast Spirit at that camp at 53, I will pull that camp right into lane. And I think if I actually cast at 54, I might pull and stack at the same time. So that's kind of crazy. Definitely playing with offlane Elder Titan for both Radiant and Dire a lot more. That's on my agenda. So some pretty crazy map changes. And then as you guys can already kind of see here, we also get the Arcane Rune, which is awesome. It's for spellcasters. Reduces the cooldowns by 30% and the mana cost maybe by 30% as well. We'll see for sure when we get down there lower. But this is awesome because this is the first rune that like for sure you want on a support. I mean, definitely some carries, but very interesting item for supports. We'll go over these later, I guess. Screw it, we'll go over these now. +2 damage on Fairy Fire for 75 gold. Plus can be consumed for 75 health. So already we've seen the pros use this as kind of like a boost to your heal capabilities. Or sorry, I mean if you need burst heal. So if you're scared that they're just going to try to burn you down, you want to be able to make sure that you can kind of sneak away, or you might just need a little extra love to make sure you get that first blood, whatever. Fairy Fire could be good for that. Dragonlance is amazing for certain characters. It extends the range of ranged heroes, and it's made up of a quarterstaff and an ogre club. So you can break that down and use the quarterstaff for a butterfly or an orchid, or you can just sell it for 875, and then you can use the ogre club for Ags, Heaven's Halberd, Sanj, BKB. So Ags, if I didn't say that, I probably said Ags already. Aether Lens is really cool. I think I might. No, okay, so it's energy booster, ring of regen, the big health one, and a cloak. And that's a cool recipe for a lot of casters because you're already going to have mana boots, and then you can get the ring of health to help you with regen, and then the cloak's like extra spell resistance. I haven't even told you what it does, as some of you are reading ahead, I'm sure, but this one is a great item for Ogre Magi, for example. Boosts your spell range and the damage output. So for Ogre Magi, that is just natural with all those things I talked about. It'd be a natural disassemble to disassemble the arcane boots and then build boots of travel late game or something like that with them. The Iron Talon is kind of crazy. I haven't really used that, but it seems like it would be very helpful for someone like Axe, or someone who's in the jungle very early, builds a ring of protection, and then isn't quite sure where to go. We'll have to check when we get down there. If that's disassemblable, that would maybe be something that you would build in like a carry Elder Titan game, or maybe even I mentioned Axe. Well, Axe doesn't build Battle Fury. That's what I was going to say. Somebody who goes like treads into Battle Fury or tranquils into Battle Fury. That's kind of a weird build for a lot of people. Captain's Mode Edition, which is great. I think everybody knew that was going to come. I mentioned the new neutral camps in the my discussion about the maps. And then hero updates. Big changes for these guys. So these guys pulled out of Captain's Mode. But let's start cruising through gameplay updates here. I'm going to jam through some of this stuff because this is already a longer video. Arcane Rune, already talked about that. Mana cost reduced by 50%. Creep bounty increased by 1 per upgrade cycle. Interesting. Siege damage against heroes increased. This is important because of towers at level 1 doing 11 more damage. Aye. Hero base HP increased, so everybody gets 30 more. That's awesome. The creeps speeding was changed a little bit, so it's closer on safe lane. This is awesome, although my first game that I just played of this went terrible. Random draft to rank matchmaking with the hero pool increased to 50, and the same pattern as ranked all pick. That pattern is awesome. I like that pattern of ranked all pick. But well, this last game was just shitty because people picked heroes that they weren't really all that good at, or I don't know. There was just some issues at hand. Okay, so then other stuff we have creeps buffed and jungle creeps buffed and more spells added to them and cool stuff. The ancient black dragon fireball sounds really interesting. I haven't seen that in effect or abducted black dragon one way or the other. But cool stuff there. Roshan buffed just a little bit. Added a patrol commands. A couple different targeting things going on. Ranked the startup time. Or reduced that to 5 seconds, which is no big deal. You're just a little bit more. Well, I'm not always sure if first pick is standardized in that. I haven't paid enough attention to that. Other stuff about simplifying some damage and armor types. I'm not sure if I meant to look in here, but it seems like level 1 towers are going down a little bit quicker, and I'm not sure if they're included in some of these armor. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know if that affects tower at all. All this terrain stuff is all just intricate descriptions of what I was trying to tell you guys about. So if you're curious and you really want to make sure, go look at that. But just look at the mini map and get used to it. Alchemist, slight nerf, basically beginning Greed bounty bonus, so that's awesome. Also fixed bug there. Bane, super slight nerf. Batrider, big buff with base regen increased and some mana buffs there. Buff to Beastmaster with a request there with Wild Axes, no longer has unit targeting. Bloodseeker, slight buff. Bounty Hunter, surprising buff. I mean, he does need a little bit more relevance late game. Janata could be better. He got a lot of play, but mainly based off track. Nothing too crazy per se. Slight buff to Brewmaster. So, I guess that's not too surprising. Bristleback, Nasal Goo mana reduced. Quill Spray max damage increased. Also, this awesome Scepter. Nasal Goo is no longer targeted. Instead applies to everybody around you. So we've played with that in some bot games. Pretty crazy stuff on that. Broodmother, Spiderling damage nerfed a little bit. Nothing too crazy. You have a bunch of Spiderlings, 20 damage each at level 4 is a fair deal. Centaur Warrunner returned buffed. Thumbs up to that. Reality Rift bonus damage increased. Kind of surprising, but cool. Chaos Knight otherwise seems pretty good. Some Chen buffs, just kind of small stuff, but cool. Some more small buffs in here, plus power cogs in a circle, which is interesting. Crystal Maiden cooldown reduced. Arcane Aura level 4 increased, which is cool. Darkseer, very small nerf, but I think probably sufficient. Base intel reduced, and Ion Shell purgeable. Poison Touch mana cost reduced, so a buff there, which is interesting. Shallow Grave slower to cast, mana cost increased, and Weave doesn't give flying vision, so interesting stuff there. Death Prophet. So basically, I mean, Witchcraft is a pretty trashy skill, and that was like a skill that was a passive that just increased your other skills. Stupid. It's really good that they removed it and came up with something new and better. So this is like a mini Pugna Life Leech, and it's pretty crazy. It has 4 charges, and charges replenish over 45 seconds. So if you burn all your charges, it's going to take you 3 minutes, which is a fair amount of time to get all your charges back up. So you can cast it on different people, and I still could do a little bit more research on this, but I don't believe. Sorry, I'm still a little unclear about whether the link breaks or not, but that could be what the buffer distance refers to. And if you look, it's lasts for 4 seconds, and at level 4, it drains 3.4% max HP per second, which is 12%. And then if you cast this on somebody continuously over the course of 16 seconds, which is a long engagement, and you are using basically 3 minutes of cooldown to do so, that is half their health. So that's pretty crazy. Base movement screen increased. Crypt School. Then this other stuff basically is like Witchcraft. So big buffs to Death Prophet removed from Captain's mode. Level Death removed, and basically a Janata like spell given to him, or skill, excuse me, mini stuns for 0.3 seconds, and applies a burn that also seems to do really big damage. That's 20% max HP as magic damage. And sorry, and that's a 4-second cooldown. That just made me pause for a second because it doesn't say how that is being dealt, whether that's magic damage or pure or physical. If that's pure, that's really good. That should probably be magical, I would think, but I don't know. Everybody has a natural magic resistance, so that definitely reduces the damage a bit. And then some other kind of buffs and nerfs. That's a nerf, nerf. Doom cooldown increased to 125. A huge buff to the Dragon Blood HP regen. At level 2 now, it's better than it was at level 4. At level 3, it's crazy. And then Form Frost AoE increase, sure. This Drow Scepter, my friend was like, nah, and then I played Drow and I got this. I thought it was awesome, and I thought it was a big game changer for her. Marksmanship, if you get Ags, causes her to be like a mini Naga Siren, and the arrows split. The arrows carry all attack modifiers. So they split into Frost Nova Frost arrows, which is crazy and can slow down a group of people. If there's no creeps, and it's a bunch of heroes, and you hit one hero with it, all of a sudden you're slowing 3 heroes. So I thought that was crazy. Increases her farm speed rapidly. Not that she had problems with it before. Earth Spirit enabled in Captain's mode. Intelligence growth reduced. Smash stun AoE reduced. And Geogrip can only pull heroes when using Scepter. So all pretty cool stuff. And I was going to talk about how this all affects Elder Titan. Nothing too serious so far. Some slight buffs for some people that are good against him, and nerfs for people that are bad against him. So now getting to his changes, and there was a small Reddit thread about him recently, and people were saying he's OP, and I actually do. I mean, kind of agree in some ways. He's certainly underutilized, and lineup-wise, difficult to find a home sometimes, and that might be partially what's leading to him being underpicked in competitive games. Also, of course, the heroes that are good right now. So, but I said too in this thread that was like a day or two right before the patch, so proof on Reddit, that I thought his ulti was going to be buffed, and indeed that is what happened. So, Earth Splitter damage rescaled from 35% to 30, 40, 50%. Mana cost rescaled from 175 to 125, 175 to 25. And then the last one's kind of like a wash. Physical damage component no longer reduced by damage block, but that's really only relevant to Crimson Guard, Vanguard, and Stout Shield. So, and that's going to be a very, very small amount of damage blocked. At least it was. So, what this means is like before this patch, I was pretty much like putting my third point and my second point into ulti at like level 20. There's just no point in it. You're barely getting a little bit more slow speed and duration. That was it. So it just wasn't worth it. But now at level 1 as well, I mean, that was another issue with his ulti, was sometimes you didn't want to get it at level 6. I would suggest, I mean, for one, if you're trying to burn, like this is the old school ET build, is to be super aggro, building spirit and aura. And that's still definitely a possibility. And if you were to do that build, at the end of level 5, you're 032. And if you have no mana, which again, they've also made spirit cost you less mana, so it's easier to save mana as you're leveling up and using spirit a little bit. At level 6, before, there'd be reasons not to put a point into ulti because you also just wouldn't have the mana to combo that, or if you were solo lane, how are you really going to land that ulti, which is still kind of an issue, but at least now the mana consideration is easier to deal with. Also, I mean, if you were running support Elder Titan, if you're running support Elder Titan, so let me finish up a thought there. So if you're dual lane, like right now, I would totally go like, this is a possible build, 032, level 6, get that point in ulti, level 7, get point in spirit. And at that point, the if you have other people that can help you combo and land that split earth, super awesome, super worth it. If you're a support Elder Titan, it's a great buff because it is tough to have all that mana to have a full combo to go Spirit, Stomp, ulti, and now even if so if you're level 6, Spirit could be level 3, it could be level 2. If it's level 3, it's 100 mana. Your Stomp is 100 mana, and your ulti now at level 6 is 125 mana. So that's 325 mana. Before, there would be an extra 60 mana on that. So 385 was what the cost of the combo was before. And that's a pretty big deal. Your mana pool around that level range. So that's a big deal. The boost to 40% damage at level 2 is not really that big of a deal. This ulti in the first place wasn't about his damage. But so what I would suggest now is, you still could hold it, and I'll have to look at my skill builds for sure. And I do have kind of different builds for offlane, different builds for support, and also, I mean, every game is different, but I think that there's definitely a very strong case, and particularly if you have good combos with Elder Titan, but there's a very strong case now to make sure that you have level 3 ulti by 16. So, you can wait to get level 2 until 15 and then get 15, 16. That's what I would do. You could get the second point and the third point before you get the final point in Stomp, because level 3 Stomp is pretty much more than enough to set up a Split Earth combo, or sorry, Earth Splitter combo. I thought it was Split Earth before, now it's Earth Splitter? Alright. Anyways, Fire Remnants no longer give vision, no big deal, but helpful for Elder if he's going to come back to his Fire Remnant. Not really, that's a tough call to make, but if you know where he's going, that's helpful, might trick him. Enchantress buffed slightly there. She also got buffed basically through the Dragonlance, which is an awesome item for her. Big buffs for Enigma there, or say not big buffs, but nice buffs for him. Basically at level 3 cooldown for Black Hole reduced should help him see some time. And both Malefice. I think Malefice is damage per tick, so that's a bigger increase than it seems. And Eidolon movement speed increase, which is important. Big changes to Faceless Void. Spend some time on this. Removed from Captain's Mode, of course, with these changes. Replace Backtrack, which is awesome because screw that skill. Also, him and PA were very similar in that regards. Now he's got this thing that applies a debuff to all nearby enemies for a level changing duration, and then also slows the movement and attack speed for each locked ability by this amount. And then it has a fairly significant cooldown, not that much mana cost. This is a very interesting skill. So basically what you're going to want to do, ideally, is you're going to want to help come in and clean up fights. Although also Time Walk, I guess let me tell you how Time Walk works, and we can elaborate on this a little bit more. Time Walk is also like a mini time lapse where it undoes any damage you take in the last 2 seconds. So almost what you want to do is you want to get hit by a bunch of skills, use Time Dilation, and then Time Walk immediately afterwards, and then all of their skills will have their cooldowns increased, and then you'll just be able to kind of stay in the fight a little bit longer, and then jump out with your Time Walk again after that. Of course, you can throw in the Chronosphere into the whole mix of that as well. And then they changed Time Walk to kind of balance it out, but didn't make it so that's 6 seconds at level 4 and 40 mana cost. Gyrocopter barely nerfed, mainly just damaged at level 1 and 2 of ulti. So earlier in the game, so that's good changes. Huskar severely nerfed with big changes to his maximum magic resistance, and I think that's pretty solid, but maybe a little too hard with the Banhammer. Invoker, awesome change with Invoke level 1 at the beginning of the game. Jakiro base damage increased by 7, which is great. I love Jakiro. Keeper of the Light boosts buffs to chakra magic. I would highly suggest if you play Keeper of the Light right now, might as well just go Chakra Magic and Mana Leak right now, because Mana Leak is awesome spell, and Chakra Magic is great, even better now. And then if you're playing him as a support, you don't really necessarily want to push lane early. Cool Scepter changed to Kunkka, as well as Tidebringer now being an autocast ability. Ghost Ship, if you get Scepter, drags enemies within 200 AoE of it towards the crash site and starts from where you are rather than behind you. Now, we were debating, and I'm not sure on this yet, whether that is a change for every ulti or just Scepter ulti. Legion Commander Scepter change, so you and your target are immune to all damage from others, but it has a duration now, so a little bit different spin on it. Lifestealer buffed early with Rage attack speed bonus. Feast also given a 0.5% boost, and then Infest cooldown reduced as you go in further into the game. Lion buffs to Earth Spike and Mana Drain, and then basically gave Lone Druid a fear ability where when you cast it, people run away from you and run towards their fountain with a 20% move speed bonus for that duration. It's good that they run towards their fountain, although certainly it's a crazy skill. But Lone Druid did need a little love. Luna gets a buff with a boost to her turn speed, which was very slow before, and then also a big buff to her Eclipse Scepter beam interval. Lycan changed around. I like those changes. Basically, gets rid of his critical strike on Shapeshift, but gives it to all units under his control, and then gives the wolves naturally have it as well. So cool stuff there. Skewer changed, distance increased, slow change reduce, and then the slow reduction increase, or slow duration. The skewer thing, one thing to note about skewer as well is that some of the cliff spots were changed that you cannot get cliffed, as it were, so that's better for other people. Mystic Stake now steals a lot of mana, but doesn't jump around. Meepo, bug fix. Mirana, good changes. Increased attack range, which Dragonlance on her as well would be pretty crazy. Then she would have 740 attack range. Storm radius increase, which is cool, just by a little bit. And then Sacred Arrow now insta-kills first non-ancient creep that it hit. So big change there. Buffs to Morphling, small buff to Naga Siren, small buffs to Nature's Prophet, Good Luck Bulldog, Necro, small buff, Void Night Stalker, small nerf, Nyx Assassin, small buff, Ogre Magi, small buff to even more regen, Oracle, nerfs, and then enabled in Captain's mode. Outworld Devourer, pretty big reworks. Arcane Orb now steals intel per hit. Intel growth nerfed, Essence Aura reduced, Astral Imprisonment changed, now has a nuke to go with it. So pretty interesting stuff there. PA very slight buff, Phoenix slight buff, Puck pretty solid buffs with Illusory Orb mana change to 80 at level 1. That's half of what it was before, so now you'll really be able to spam that. But it's pretty easily dodgeable by heroes, so it gives them a lot more laning presence, which is pretty cool. Cooldown increased at early levels, the same at later levels, and then now you can silence creeps with Waning Rift. Dismember damage increased to include percentages of your strength, which is cool, so that'll improve over time. Dismember now heals you, which is what the Ag Scepter did, and now the Ag Scepter gives you 4-second meat hooks, which is awesome, and then also increases the damage. Very, very cool stuff there. I wonder if you rush Scepter and you just keep it at level 1, if that increases the damage straight away to 475, which would be just a bug, but I just wonder that since they don't have it like marked out in hashes there. Decrepify no longer slows allies, which is great because that was silly. Scream of Pain slightly reduced, and Sonic Wave travel speed reduced. So cool stuff there. Ricky changed. This is Cloak and Dagger now, and then Blink Strike changed back to a basic ability, and then a new ulti, which is pretty interesting. Imagine like a Chronosphere, and he just sits in the middle, and everybody that's in that area just gets hit by Ricky at 1 per second. So pretty cool stuff there. Smokescreen no longer slows turn rates. Strength growth reduced. HP regen removed from Invis. So definitely some big changes there. Agility growth reduced. But he's pretty strong. Fade Bolt damage increased. That's pretty strong at level 1. Not too big of a deal at level 4, though. Big buffs to Sand King. Base strength increased. Caustic Finale slow increased. Burrow Strike doubled on Ag Scepter. And get the Caustic Finale poison on heroes, but no longer reworked. Or sorry, no longer other old Scepter bonuses. Shadow Demon Disruption Illusions definitely increased a good chunk at level 4. Shadow Fiend Shadow Rays mana increased to 90, which is a pretty significant early game nerf to him. Also with the basic armor reduced by 1. We'll see if that slows him down in the pick rates here. Requiem of Soul Scepter upgrade where the souls go out and then they come back in, and then on the way back in they heal you. Shackle bonus damage increased, which is great, especially big change at level 4 there. And then Mass Serpents changed from HP to just 2 hits requiring them to be destroyed. Interesting change to Curse of the Silent here. Arcane Curse. Anytime they cast a spell, the duration of the debuff of the Arcane Curse is extended, and it is a DOT, and yeah, pretty crazy stuff there. Effects creeps. Skywrath Mage, Concussive Shot, mana cost reduced to 95, which I was always interested in a build with him where you max Concussive Shot, do Arcane Bolt, and Silence, just 1 point in Arcane Bolt. So max Concussive Bolt, and then Silence, and then maybe even just build into Arcane Bolt and 1 point in ulti until way later, because that just costs a shit ton of mana. So that would help that strategy out. Amplify damage doesn't give you vision, just the target. Slight buff to Storm Spirit. Slight buff to Sven. Nerf to Templar Assassin with Refraction, always visible. No changes to Terrorblade. Awesome Scepter upgrade to Tidehunter. Grazes Gush to be this targeted wave ability that travels for huge range. It's awesome. And then, yeah, small buffs there. Sure, buffs to Timber. I don't like Whirling Death debuff. I think it's bogus. And then reactive armor duration increased. Nerfed at level 1 though. Slight boost to Tinker. Nerf to Tiny with craggy exterior hits triggering on attack landing, which is awesome. Buffs to Treant, particularly level 1 Leech Seed. Slight buff with Troll Warlord with Fervor stacks increased, and Raging Whirling Axe cooldown reduced. Slight buffs to Tusk, which is good. Changes to Snowball, which is good, and Ice Shards. Damage reduced at level 4 and level 2, level 3 pretty significantly. Slight nerfs to Undying. Ursa changes, which is like Scepter's always castable. Cool changes to Vengeful Spirit. You get a spirit that sticks around when you die. Small changes to Venno, Visage, Warlock, Weaver. Small buffs there. Wind Ranger, definitely some nerfs with Sackle Shot being disjointable, angle reduced, and speed, but the speed increased, which is cool. Wraith King getting Lifesteal being toggleable. And then Witch Doctor with some good buffs. Winter Wyren, small nerfs. Witch Doctor also got a really good buff with Aether Lens. And some other changes down here. I just want to point out Rada Atos. Bottle nerf. I got to get going here, though, so that's why I'm just going to talk about Rada Atos here, and then I'm going to bounce here, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks so much for watching. Rada Atos, cripple cooldown increased, so small nerf there, but grants units that attack the target 40% accuracy. So with that Arc Warden thing, if you Rada Atos them, then you actually do have some accuracy on them. So I do have to run, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for this. Cut just a little bit short, but I realize I got somewhere I got to be. Hope you enjoyed this discussion, though. Thanks so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I'm eXtine. See you guys next time. Peace out.